I lost my train of thought. I was doing good until then.
Quick disclosure, we just want to let you know everybody here at Darker with Daniel is taking every single safety precaution possible with sanitization, social distancing, and everything moving forward from that. We take the safety of our guests and everybody else very seriously. We're going to do our best to slow the spread of the coronavirus. All right. This week we have Rudder of the Gregorys. Brett, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, man?
Fantastic.
Sweet.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
I'm doing terrible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Nobody asked.
Sweet.
This is already going great. It's great to have you, though. I'm really excited. I know you have a lot to kind of talk about. You've been up to a lot of different things. I guess, well, probably more so pre-COVID, but...
Yeah, COVID slowed some things down. But yeah, a few years now, I've been kind of busting my butt, like, outside of my normal 9 to 5 in music. So playing music, writing music, trying to promote local artists, all genres, kind of have a heart for it. In and around Carlisle, Pennsylvania, but like
cool.
Central PA kind of broadly speaking. And I found out there's so many great scenes, like Gettysburg and the York and Harrisburg, Mechanicsburg, Carlisle. Each has its own kind of flavor, and so working with bars and other venues to try and book local original artists and get them seen by somebody.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Are you doing this as like a promotion company or just kind of something for fun or like?
Yeah, I mean, it started out something for fun, and it kind of still is. But me and my buddy who couldn't be here tonight and a couple other guys have basically put together like a pseudo business. Like, we're calling ourselves Non-Existent Records, and it's basically a community-focused record company. Like, our tagline is kind of like, we're not really a label, we're just really big fans. Like, the idea is if we can get you recorded by our means, if we can get you, onto various streaming platforms by our means, if we can book you at various venues,
Get you the exposure.
That's what we want to do. You have the talent. Yeah,
that's really cool. I wish that stuff was around when I was in the music scene, because like that's unheard of. Like someone in a company that's like that focused on the artist, because you typically hear the exact opposite. How like the labels and everything, they essentially like squeeze everything they can out of a band, and then once they're worthless, they have nothing else to give. They just drop them. Yeah, they just get every dime out of them.
No, I like that. It's noble. It's innocent. It's just, hey, like, we're enthusiasts of this, and like if I can use my connections to help you, it's amazing. That's kind of a little bit how we got started ourselves.
That's great.
That's awesome. So how are you? So if you're doing the promoting business, obviously I understand how it worked pre-COVID, but like, what are you doing now, like post-COVID?
Well, nothing. No. One of the other things that I do is I've kind of started my own learning how to like film and record a little bit, a lot of photography, and so I run an open mic in Carlisle, and I like I said, I book shows. I've got tons of media that I've captured from artists that I think are really promising. And so a lot of what I've been doing is trying to like kind of organize all that media, sift through it, cull it a little bit, and like find out what I can still use. Stuff that like, I would have a band come. I was booking at Molly Pitcher for a while last summer, Molly Pitcher in Carlisle, and I had a really good sound guy there, and he would send me all the files. So I had all this content. I would send the band like a video and like some pictures and be like, here, use this for promotion, like free, just use it. But there's so much more that like I just didn't have time to look at. So I've got like a hard drive full of stuff that I'm going through, like trying to find good video to give people, and I've also just been writing my own stuff and trying to like figure out the best way to move forward with promoting the record label and promoting the band. And it's been a good time, a good productive time of like reflection, like, okay, how can we better do this going forward? Like, I can't go out and actually like do a ton of shows, but I can spend a lot of time growing like that social media print right now, and like that's important in this day and age with that kind of stuff.
You're essentially just changing like your concentration on like how you're like marketing yourself and promoting yourself. That's
using all your resources as well.
Yeah, no, that's the goal. I mean, there's been a couple things I've been able to keep up the open mic a little bit here and there as like a private party. So there's nothing official happening, and I have to invite people, and it has to be limited, following all the state recommended guidelines. But even that's been enough to be able to keep in touch with some of these people, get a couple videos, So working like as best I can given the situation.
No, for sure. I mean, I was literally just having this conversation the other day. It was actually with my tattoo artist. I was having a conversation because we were talking about music, and like my tattoo artist is in a band called Inner Turmoil.
Okay.
They're really good, but like I was talking about, I would just absolutely suck to have been like a band that like got together probably like, I don't know, like March, April of 2019. Like, got your foundation together, got everything good, got everything right, and you guys are like, yep, and you're like, we've got everything we need, and then bam, COVID hit. You put all this time, all this effort, all this money into it, and you literally do not know what's going to happen with the scene. I don't think there's a bigger way to take the wind out of someone's sails than to be like, hey, the music scene as a whole that you knew since you were a child doesn't exist anymore. Because you're just like, I'm just so glad I did it when I did, and I wasn't involved in the project, because like that's got to be just so like just shattering as an artist.
I think that like what you're saying is definitely entirely valid, and I'm hopeful that maybe it will kind of change things a little bit, because obviously with like more time through the music scene, things have become more normal and new and changed a lot. I think maybe this little break might not necessarily be a bad thing, kind of take some people back to their roots. I mean, take like Champ, for example. When in like 2012, there was on a Tuesday night that place would be sold out just because people wanted to see live music, right?
Sure, yeah.
And then when they shut down in, 2017, 18?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Like, they shut down because nobody would show up. They couldn't even sell out a Saturday night or a Friday night.
They couldn't,
because the whole music scene was dying. Everybody was getting like very cocky, I thought. And not everybody.
No, but I know what you're saying, though. Yeah.
But like maybe this break will take a lot of people back to the roots and kind of realize, like, not to be cliche, but it's like cliche.
Cliche. It's the French version.
Yeah.
Cliche.
Maybe it'll kind of take people back to the roots and really like appreciate it's like what you never know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah.
Like I'm really hoping maybe you'll bring that back to people and they'll appreciate it more, support their artists more.
Yeah.
Agreed. Like I think you could have. I'm optimistic about it. I want to be optimistic about it.
The best way to describe it,
yeah. Because for me, what I hope is like, was the music scene bad? Like as a whole, like I'm talking like all the music. Was it bad before? No. But could it have been better?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But there was nothing that existed prior to COVID that could literally bring the entire music industry to a halt, to give the people that have the power, the knowledge, and the resources to take a step back and be like, hey, how can we do this better, and actually have the time to sit down and think about it and implement and create ideas to make it better. I'm hoping that's what's happening right now in this lull, is that the people with the power, the knowledge, and the resources are doing just that. They're like, this is what we were doing across the board. It was good. It was working. But how can we make it better, not only for the artists, but for the spectators, for the fans?
Yeah.
How can we change and revolutionize the music scene? Because I think if it's ever going to happen, it's going to happen now, because, like I said, this is the only time the entire music industry as a whole
on pause.
has been put on pause.
I think, it's never good. Like, none of this stuff is ever good, this kind of thing. Like, people are losing money. They're
Left
losing
and right.
livelihood. They're losing business. I've talked to a couple businesses that were some of my favorite places for local music, and they're closing. They're for good, which is, it sucks. And so there's negatives that you can't get around. But I think it's better to be optimistic. And I think what you guys are saying, like, what I think this might drive is the realization, like you said, we take these things for granted. Like Carlisle, where I kind of operate mostly, was okay for music 5 or 6 years ago. There's been guys that have been involved in it longer than I am, that I have to give kudos to, who've been busting their butts for a while in it. As I came along, it started to grow, not because of me, it's just the timing. I started to get involved as it started to grow. But there were bars that I would play it before where they didn't want to hear my original song. Like, if I wasn't playing a Tom Petty cover, they weren't interested. But like especially last year, dude, the amount of people looking for original music was mind-blowing. And in just small little college town, blue-collar area, which is great. But I think we took it for granted because every bar on the block was playing music because everybody could afford it. 2019 was a great year for food and service industry. So people, they're paying bands tons of money. It's great. Money that you would never get if you were playing in New York or Nashville or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's done. And what I think and what I hope is what's going to happen is that people really like that. And there's that hunger that, like, it's been since February, realistically, since we've had, like, tons of live music. And people are like, you know what? I actually really miss that. Like, I didn't know that I liked it that much, but I don't want to go just sit in a bar and buy 2 pieces of pizza so I can drink a beer or whatever. Like I want to hear like the up and comer. Like I actually liked the fact that my town had an artist that I thought was better than half the people I hear coming out of LA and New York. And I think that's huge. If that hunger exists, then when this kind of kicks back in, people are going to come out and pay money to see these bands because they want to hear them.
Oh, for sure. And like, I mean, I'll be the first one to say, like, I see that all the time, like almost every day, at least once on a daily basis on social media, Facebook, Instagram, everything. Like someone, like at least one person's like, man, like they either post like a memory, like, oh, this is this show, whatever. Like I would give anything to do this again, or like, oh, I had to cancel the tickets that I had bought like ahead of time for this show. Man, like I really hope this. I think that hunger is there for sure.
Yeah,
I really do think it's there.
Yeah.
But I really hope it's not a bunch of people just blowing smoke right now, because I mean, and you got to think about it from an analytical standpoint. That's the stuff that the music industry is looking at. Is like, oh, how many people are actually missing going in person?
Yeah,
there are definitely people dedicated to monitoring social media to see like what the response is to this.
Yeah,
and I just hope those people that are posting that aren't just blowing smoke, because if you're, like, I'm telling you right now, to any of our listeners, if you're blowing smoke right now, I guarantee, I promise you, you are messing up numbers right now that big labels are looking at and analyzing, and they're making plans off of. So please, if you're posting that, like, I hope you stick to it. Like, I hope you follow through.
2 points. One, I think you're correct. I think that like a lot of people probably will actually want to, just for one, the social aspect, and two, like a lot of people probably really will realize how much they miss live music and truly appreciate it after not having it for almost a year, if not a year by the time this runs its course. And I mean, and you're always gonna have those people that are go to the beach and then like 3 weeks later post another picture of the beach to like take me back. You're gonna have those people who do the same thing with music and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I was there.
But what you were saying about like covers and stuff like that really intrigued me, because like if you think about it, like you're right, everybody just wants to hear covers, and or at least
there was a time for sure.
There was a time where that's all people wanted to hear. And like think about all the covers that these people are doing. It's all stuff from like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and like none of those guys, like they would cover a song once in a while, but like cover bands weren't really a thing back then, from what I understand.
And you can make like a career off of that now, in Pennsylvania. Like you can easily pay your bills if you got what it takes and you're nailing it. Like you can easily be a cover band and pay all your bills.
And there's no knock to that. Like I do think there's value in that too. I
agree.
I'm a songwriter, and I'm a kind of like a slow, like sad songwriter. Like that's kind of like just how the music comes out of me. And so, you know, my music doesn't sound good in a bar. And like I'm the first to admit, like I'll go play at a bar because typically bars make more money and they pay more. And I'm happy to try and I'll play anywhere. Like I love to play.
Yeah.
But the reality is like the people that fit best in a typical bar scene are kind of like, you know, they're not intruding on the customer. They're more of like a background thing, and they usually sound really good. Like I know a couple cover guys in the area that are killing it, and they are making money doing it. And like, look, they're great. They're talented. That's just not my thing. Like I'm not gonna probably go see that guy. But if I walk into a bar and he's playing, I'm like, oh, dude, you're killing it. Nice cover. You know.
Yeah. You explained it perfectly. That's exactly.
Right.
I could never put that into words.
Take Derrick Henry for example.
Oh, yep.
Like. I'm not sure if you watched the episode with him. You know Derrick, don't you?
I didn't watch it, but I know his stuff. Yeah, I've heard him play.
Like he does amazing covers, but like that dude can write, he can sing, he can like do. He's
everything.
He's so talented. We need to have him back on soon.
We do, but you're exactly right, because I mean, hell, driving down 83 and you see the billboard for Savannah's and XL Live.
Yeah,
like you'll see cover band names on there. Like you have. What's it? Pantera.
Yeah,
the Pennsylvania Pantera cover.
Yeah.
You see You see Dead.
God, I never even noticed that.
You see big cover bands on a giant billboard on the side of a major
they make money, man.
State highway. But then you have people like I said, this is no knock to the people doing cover bands, but like you have people that are putting their heart and soul into original stuff. Will you ever see that name on that billboard? No.
Yeah, it'll take a while.
Not a single
you don't
day.
already know the word. You can't bob your head to
That's
it.
exactly
like,
what it is.
I think people are just too afraid to learn the words to new songs. That sounded so cliche.
Well, I think it's
true.
true. You know, you invest, like as a listener, you invest a lot when you're trying to listen to stuff that hasn't been recommended to you by a billion people, and you're not what you're comfortable with. And a lot of people listen to music, and I don't think I'm this way, so maybe I'm a little bit of an outlier. But like a lot of people listen to music because they're comfortable with that sound. Like a lot of guys grew up on country. They love country. Like I love country. I grew up on that too. A lot of guys grew up on that, like, you know, that like 80s metal scene, that kind of like that Pantera, that kind of angry, like, you know, just like angry at everything kind of mentality. And like those, so like when you like Pantera doesn't play anymore. So when you have a band like Pantera, like I'm
that
interested
nails
in
the sound,
because there's an experience there that I missed, right? Like the Pink Floyd experiences, the Beatles experience, the Dead experience. Like me, Bad Fish, that's a cool idea. That's different, I think, than just like, you know, you got your binder of 300 songs and you're just gonna play with your guitar. I think it's a different fit. Like I'll pay to see Pantera. Because I never got to see.
Because that's the closest experience you're gonna get.
Right,
for sure.
Bad Fish is amazing. Like I went and saw them last May, I think it was.
Yeah,
like, they're really good.
The Gregorys are like tossing around the idea of starting a Creed cover band. So I don't know, like,
dude,
kind of seriously.
I will respect you.
Yeah. But like, I feel like there's a market there, man. Like, there's people that will come to see. Yeah,
dude, you get into like that bar that has a bunch of construction workers there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
I love that you pinpoint construction workers. Like, dude, I love this song.
To be fair,
in the
like
construction industry, these guys love Creed.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
But the thing is, like Creed does. Like I used to hate Creed. But if anybody from Creed's watching this podcast, like I'm sorry, I love you now. But you know, Mark Tremonti is like one of the best guitarists of all time. But like, I realized like it was only because my idea of Creed was like what I heard on the radio, and so then I listened to like My Own Prison and Human Clay, and I was like, okay, these guys actually low key rocked hard back in the day before they became like when With Arms Wide Open was like massively popular. I was like, whoa, these guys are like actually like a metal band. I didn't know that.
Okay, I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that either.
Give them a try.
I only just heard it from my dad. My dad, and it was always like, with arms wide open.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, I'm so over the song.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also the thing with like bands is like, you can not like a band, but also understand the fact that they're a talented band.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
So many people don't get that. Like,
sure, yeah. You can put that line down the middle. It's okay.
Yeah, like I don't necessarily like Avenged Sevenfold, but like we all know Sinister Gates can absolutely shred.
Yeah, he rocks.
I absolutely hate the Beatles. Hate them. Will never listen to a song in their life.
Really?
But do I respect them? Yes.
Well, yeah,
because without them, we would not have the music we have. And I'm so glad you're able to say that. Like, yeah, like I literally, if the Beatles come on, I will change it. But I respect the hell out of you.
Right.
See, I'm that
okay.
way
What
with Creed.
I'm with the line thing until you get to the Beatles, and then it's like there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Get off my podcast.
Not even Yellow.
I
Submarine?
almost left when you said it.
Not even Yellow Submarine though.
No, dude.
It doesn't
especially Yellow Submarine.
It's okay. It's okay, man. The guy I write songs with, the other guy in the Gregorys that I write songs with, like we actually had like an argument after practice a couple months ago because he was like, "Dude, I just don't get it with the Beatles."
I don't.
And me and the bassist were like, "What? Like, how are we even in the same band, man?" Like, and he's like, "Seriously, we made." And like to be fair, like I wanted to just say like it's just because you don't know them. So I gave him like the ultimate Beatles fan. Like you have to listen to this stuff. You have to like read this stuff. Like this is how he did it all. Like totally like props to him. He did it all, and he came back. He was like, "Yeah, I just not that into it."
And I feel like that's where I'm at. Like, dude, there is not. I've had so many friends, like, you need to listen to this song, or like, oh, check this song out. Or like, we'll be in the car and they'll put like a playlist on it, and it has like, and there is not a single riff. There's not a single chorus. There's not a single melody in a Beatles song that catches me. And I hate to say, and this is, I don't want to say this is cliche. I don't want to say this is like
cliche,
egotistical, but cliche. But like, I mean, because I honestly hated hardcore until I learned how to scream. But like, ever since I had that appreciation for hardcore, dude, hardcore is where my heart is at. Like when you have that just like that raw, angry emotion, like you can hear the sadness in someone, and they're just screaming it with a dope riff in the background. I'm like, that's my jam.
Right.
Have you heard Tyler Carter's cover of Lucy at Midnight?
No.
Well, it's not necessarily a cover. He just kind of took their song and mixed it around a little bit. It's really, really good. Have you heard
I love Tyler Carter as a vocalist for sure. Like, there's no denying his talent. But like, it's like the new song that I just showed you from Kingdom of Giants. Like, the beginning of the song of Sync, it's just like it's just vocals in the background, and the instruments are even further in the background, and he's just yelling about how like hurt he is, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, that just pulls on my heart, and I'm like, I feel this, and then it slams into the instrumental, everything comes up. Yeah, I'm about it. Like, that's what gets me.
It's like he knows me.
It's it's so funny because like that's like transcendent in music. Like, you're talking about it with a specific style of music, and I'm hearing exactly what you're saying, and I'm into that style too. But like when I think of that like emotion, I think primarily of like classic country, which is funny because like some
and
people
you're
are
not
not going to
wrong.
get that.
You're
Right.
not wrong,
Yeah,
dude.
classic country's really
Country, dude. If you want to cry,
Dude.
if you want to hurt,
Yeah.
country, 100%.
Dude,
Like, oh
Red
my
Savine. If you want to cry,
Dude.
listen to Red Savine. Do any of you know who Red Savine is?
No.
god.
Any of you guys? Jesus. He has a song called Phantom 309. It's so all right. Basically, what this guy does is there is some old, I'm talking 60s, 70s styles, country music like finger picking in the background, and this guy's basically just talking and telling a story, but it's still music.
See, I can definitely get lost in that kind of stuff.
Dude, this is it's the craziest thing ever. Like this guy tells a story, and it's about like old truckers back then. How like trucking was a huge thing.
Oh, for sure.
We were just kind of coming out of the Industrial Revolution, and like trucking was massive. And he talks about how he was hitchhiking back home, and a random truck picks him up, and he's in the middle of like a rainstorm. And this guy, he's like, "Oh yeah, my name's Joe. I'll drop you off down the road wherever." And he's like, "This is my rig, Phantom 309." And he drops him off at this gas station or a trucker stop or whatever. He's like, "This is as far as I can take you." He's like, "Here's a dime. Go get a cup of coffee on me." He's like, "Tell him old Joe sent you from Phantom 309." So he goes in there, buys a cup of coffee with that dime. He's like, "Old Joe told me to say that old Joe and Phantom 309 bought me this," and the whole room stops. And apparently, old Joe was a trucker in that area who died because he was trying to stop from hitting a school bus full of kids. Like, dude,
It's like he was
sad.
transported by like a phantom trucker.
Yeah, but which is like creepy in of itself. But then like the way he died was so noble because like a school bus of kids
Like
pulled
it's
out
not
in
even
front of him.
scary. You're
So
just
he's-
like I'm proud.
dude. Like that gives you like I got goosebumps right now just talking about
It's
it.
a story. The storytelling is like it's not. You don't feel disconnected from the story. You feel like superly emotionally connected to
And
it.
the way they do it, like you can envision it in your mind. It's insane. I would like absolutely recommend anybody to check out Red Savine because he has other ones that like, dude, there's one sadder than that where I'm driving down the road and I'm like, oh God, like, man.
And I'll go on record and says I've said this multiple times. I think I've actually said this on the podcast before, but like Christian bands, like I'm not saying they're my favorite, but like if you want like a solid message, like you want to feel, even if it has nothing to do with God, like if you have nothing to do with God and that message doesn't necessarily have anything to do with God, that message is going to be metaphorical enough and relatable enough for you to find meaning in it.
Yes.
Because like Being as an Ocean, they're probably they're one of my biggest inspirations when I wrote.
Are they Christian?
Oh my goodness,
that,
yes,
actually.
yeah. They are so Christian, and like there's the one song I cannot remember because like the album that I really loved, it was one of their original albums, and all the names of the tracks were like very unique and specific. But he says, I forget what the build up to the lyric is, but he's just screaming because they're known for like their spoken word, and he's just yelling, and it's just raw. But he's like, I'll take my glass, he's like, and I'll raise it. He's like, I'll raise it high, and just screams it over and over again. And I'm just like, dude,
like
it just like brings tears to your eyes, and you're just like he's raising it, like, and he's like, you don't even know what that means, but he's raising it, and I'm feeling it.
Well,
and it's good.
It is, it's cool because like in the Christian scene, like I'm in and around that a lot, and so like it's interesting because there's a lot of people that would like knock that because like how can you be a Christian band and like be like screaming and stuff like that? Like
Dude,
it's
they're
easy.
the best.
Well,
it's so easy.
Well, for me,
Prada,
I know, dude. I grew up like that stuff
Plus
was
the
like
Fall.
huge for me, and honestly, like we're not gonna get into this stuff, but like honestly, I think they have better lyrics than half the like poppy Christian bands I've ever heard. Like,
oh my goodness,
more
yes.
meaningful, more doctrinal, more on point.
The
But like,
Word Alive. What was their one song? I'd rather die for what I believe than live a life without
dude.
meaning. Dude, like it gave me
great.
goosebumps right now. Like it's so much better than any
Even like
any worship band I've even heard.
even like old school Family Force 5.
Yeah,
when
dude.
I was seeing
Yeah.
them like
Yeah.
live. Yeah.
well,
that
dude,
shit was
thinking
crazy.
about you read the lyrics to an As I Lay Dying record or a Demon Hunter record, and you're
Yo,
like,
Demon Hunter.
Yep. Oh my God, that's
goodness.
awesome.
dude, Demon Hunter. So the
They were
song,
so good.
Yeah, and like those guys are tight, right? Like they weren't like super heavy, but like they were like,
But they just had
were
a
heavy
good
enough.
sound,
and he was a
yeah.
great vocalist, and like, but their song "Carry Me Down," which is like a slower. They had like one slow song on every. They had like a formula, right? They had a bunch of heavy stuff and then like a slow song, and that song, I think I heard it first when my granddad passed away in 2009, and like I was listening to it like on the way to the hospital when he had just died, and like it's rain, like cliche, right? But like it was raining. I'm listening to the song, and like that because like that song, I remember that song. Like I listen to it all the time now. Like it just keeps coming back to me, and there was just. Yeah, they write because I think they're writing from a place of intentionality and a place of like experience. That's the thing about Christian bands that I think that why I like some of them so much is because I think what they're writing from, they're not trying to be fake. They're not trying to be like, life is great because I'm a Christian or whatever. They're really just like writing about real life things through a worldview that's just different from other people's.
Yeah.
And like I think that for the Gregorys it's the same thing. Like we're not a bunch of us are Christians but we're not a Christian band.
Yeah.
But like we write music about grief, about love, about heartbreak, about life. We just have a worldview that's just a little different than maybe the other band that's writing that way.
Didn't Reliant K do that? They started out as a Christian band, but then they went.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Yep.
And they were
Yep.
they were great.
Yeah.
It's same with what's it called?
Amberlin.
Amberlin.
Yeah.
Amberlin's Christian.
A bunch of them did.
They're dropping a new
Skyhawk
album
Drive.
soon.
For
Did you
real.
see that?
Sweet.
Yeah,
No,
dude.
I went
I'm
and saw
so.
I went
I
and
saw them live.
I saw them last year live.
So good.
Did
One of
anybody
the
else?
best
That's awesome.
bands I've ever seen.
Did anybody ever listen to Pillar?
I
Yeah,
did.
dude.
Yeah, dude.
I saw
Pillar.
them live
Yeah.
so many
Yeah,
times.
they were. Some of those bands are so good. Dude, I always knocked 1,000 Foot Crutch, and I saw them live, and I was like, these guys were awesome live.
Skillet, all of them.
like,
Yeah.
They
Dude,
eased me
Skillet's
into like
so
metal
good.
and
Yeah,
hardcore.
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
They
Because
kinda,
I was like that. I was when you were talking about hardcore.
Mhm.
Like there was a time where I was like, this stuff's stupid. Like why would you? And then a little bit of bands here and there, and I realized like this is the coolest thing ever. And
See, and it's like I'm so grateful for the way that I came into it because like I made a joke, but it's seriously the true story of how I came into hardcore was I remember like I was the dude that was still listening to, like 3 Days Grace, Breaking Ben, Yellow Card,
yeah.
and then I would get in the car with my
Breaking
best
Ben.
friends, and they were listening to Devil Wears Prada, like the first album, like hey, Dear John, what's your name again,
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and I was like,
John.
what?
Hey John, what's
Hey,
your
John.
name?
Hey John,
Yeah.
what's your name again? Yeah,
HTML rocks, dude.
and I was just like, they were like playing it. I was like, God, like what is this?
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, this Devil Wears Prada. I was like, this is terrible. And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, dude, anyone can scream at the top of their lungs.
No.
And they're like, no, they
it's
can't. And I was like, dude, bet.
Yeah.
I was like, I can do this. And they're like, okay. Like a year and a half later, and I did. I stuck to it. I started listening to it, and I started practicing in my car.
And then you liked it.
I grew an appreciation for it. And then it was like a year and a half later, my best friend, the one that I was in that car with, that I made that bet with, he was like, hey, dude, I'm thinking about starting a band. Like, do you know anyone that's like a vocalist? I was like, yeah. I was like, me. And he was like, what? And I got in the car, and I showed him. He was like, oh, my God. He's like,
Yeah.
where did this come from? I was like, remember that bet that I told you like I would teach myself? I was like, I did, but like I love this stuff now. And like from that point on, like I was in multiple bands,
man.
and like I've never heard such raw emotion than in that style of music. Like there's still music videos this day, like Wage War, Youngblood. That music video will make me bawl every time.
You should put it on right now.
Like I wish I could. I wish the speakers could pick it up, but like, dude, it's so good. Like, yeah. So back to the Beatles. Like, I get it. Like, people like
Yeah.
it, people vibe with it, but like, it doesn't resonate with me on a certain level. I will
feel that.
always respect it. I will never be like, oh, it's trash. It has its place in time. It has its place in history, but
Yeah.
it's just not my cup of tea.
I feel the same way about Nickelback.
Yo, real talk. Like, I'm gonna go on record again. I'm just gonna say, let's be honest. Let's all stop playing ourselves. Nickelback actually slaps. The internet has told you to hate it.
Get off my podcast.
All right, guys. So we'll be back in about a couple seconds, and we'll see you then.
You won't notice at all.
Not at all. We're back in.
We're back in now.
Oh.
Yeah,
We're in
cheers.
there like swimwear, baby.
Ooh. Okay.
Um,
Sorry. I like it.
Do you have something to say on it?
I wanted to bring something up. We were talking about this during the break. Toby
Oh.
Mac.
Oh yeah, dude. Heck yeah. I love Toby Mac.
What was the name of his rap group?
His rap group?
Yeah.
Well, he was with DC Talk back in the day.
DC
right?
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
We
dude.
were talking about that outside.
I have no idea what is.
Yo,
Wow.
if you want,
about
hey,
it.
dude, if you want a power, like, look, DC Talk, Jesus Freak, that album.
Yes.
Oh
Amazing.
my
Amazing.
God.
I had that on
Oh my
cassette.
God.
Yep.
On cassette.
It's a great album. There's
Yeah.
just some
I
great
don't
songs
have
on there.
anything on cassette anymore
Tate,
because I'm
what
not
was
a
his
peasant.
first
I
name?
Michael Tate.
had it on cassette.
Okay.
Yes.
Tate, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, man.
I thought you were the hipster of the group.
It's just the mustache.
Man, that is
That's all
like
it is.
that is like the early days. That's
Yeah.
really coming back to
I
me.
started
Wow.
with DC Talk. Yeah, I didn't like Christian music when I was way younger. My parents I had Christian parents too. I'm Christian, yeah. So
I think
but-
all of us grew up here.
yeah, so-
Christian, so
But like I was really into like classic rock early, and my parents are cool about it. Like they bought me a Van Halen self-titled album like when I was
That's awesome.
12
yeah.
or 11 or whatever. But they wanted to make sure I had a balanced like input. They didn't want me to like, just going all in on like one thing. They're like, hey, make sure you're balancing this out with like kind of more, fruitful stuff. So
Because they didn't want you to be satanic.
well, yeah, that was one of the things.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
But like Audio Adrenaline, DC Talk, some of those bands like
Switchfoot.
Casting Crowns.
I realized, I did some casting crowns.
Casting
Good
Crowns, all right.
songwriters. But like I realized like because I was under this impression like the music industry just sucked. And I realized later on, we talked about it earlier, like
Mhm.
actually there's some good stuff, and it's gotten way better. But in that time period, like I realized there's some good bands even right now that are like they're good and they're Christian bands. It's
I
cool.
haven't listened to Christian music in like probably 10 years at least. So I wouldn't.
You want to know
not
something funny?
know-
You say that, but I guarantey you
might
have.
not
You just
know,
didn't know
yeah.
it.
That's
You
that's
guys know
what I was
NF? You
just
know
gonna
NF,
say.
right?
Yeah.
You know
NF?
NF?
Yeah.
The rapper?
Oh,
Yeah.
Dude's amazing.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's Christian and he only
Seriously.
raps about his own mental health.
Super fire
Like,
lyricist.
Yeah, no,
Like-
I've listened to his music
Yeah.
before. I
Yeah.
didn't know he was Christian.
Yep, he's Christian. Like when he talks
Is
about
he
like
a Christian or is he a Christian rapper?
No, he doesn't really rap about like religion.
yeah, it's
Okay.
more about just like empowering yourself and overcoming your own like obstacles.
Yeah.
Like when the one intro on his one album where he raps about himself and then about his depression,
Yeah.
about like getting the shovel and burying a hole in the yard,
Yeah,
and then
man.
you hear like the punk
Dude.
of the shovel hit. And he's like, you're not so big and bad now. He's like, it's scary now when you're on the other side. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. And he's talking about burying his own. He's like, this whole time, he's like, I thought I was in a prison that you built, but he's like, the whole time I've been holding the key.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
oh yeah.
yo,
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah, it's legit. I appreciate guys like him doing that more because I think that's real Christian music.
Yeah.
Like you're writing about real life. Like there's like this idea that like Christian music is just like hymns
It's
in
all
church.
it's
That's not.
all
but
happy.
that's a part
and
of it.
beautiful.
But the reality is like Christian people, anybody, any religion, people are people in this world. They're dealing with the same kind of stuff that everybody's dealing with, and like some of us get through it some way. But like so you're ready. There's a worldview that you have that is helping you get through this.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So if you're writing Christian music and it's only ever like super happy poppy, like whatever, if that's your thing, but like that's not real life.
No,
like,
it's-
I don't. You know what I mean? Like
You're bringing up. So here's the one thing I want to ask everyone here. It's like when you meet a religious person, like, and they're dead fast religious. And that's cool. I have nothing against that. Like, I'm religious. I have my own belief. But like, you are either typically, and I'll say typically, you are either A, you were born and raised, and this is what you believe, or what else normally happens to you to make you find religion?
right.
Like a
You-
life-changing event.
You went through
Sure.
a very dark time, and
Yeah.
you had nothing else to turn to but God, and you find solace in that. You find like you find a foundation in that you can build off of. I've been there. I was born and raised Catholic, confirmed everything, and I was like, this is really hypocritical. I don't believe in this religion at all. So I disowned it, and I became a Christian, like a non-denominational
Denominational.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
Christian.
I
And
know
even-
those kinds.
Yes, and then even after that, I was like, I'm kind of like agnostic. I don't really know what I believe, but like my home life was just being destroyed. And it's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to church, and I started going to church every Sunday, and I started praying. And I'll just use this as a preface. And I'm not really saying this is like my preaching pedestal or anything, but I'll just be honest. If anyone is listening to this podcast and is like, oh, like prayer is bullshit, like it's not.
Right.
And I don't mean to swear. I know
No,
you,
you
like,
good.
but I've heard that so many times. I have realized, because I've been the person that's like, I've prayed, like, hey God, it's me, hey, and guess what? Nothing happens. Nothing
Yeah,
happens.
yeah.
It's your boy Alan. Like, what's up? Nothing happens, and I think there's a reason for that. I was going through some like hard stuff, like, and when I prayed with everything. Like, I prayed with every ounce of energy in me.
You were believing what you were praying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And guess what? I had my prayers, and I mean this. And like I said, this is not me preaching. Like, you believe what you believe. I'm going to love you no matter what. But I had my prayers answered verbatim. Verbatim what I prayed for. I saw them come to fruition, and it happened. And that's what made me, I was like, you know what? I may not know exactly what religion is. It may not be some old dude with a beard up in the clouds.
Probably not.
But something somewhere on some plane in some realm of existence it's
Yeah.
hearing you.
Yeah.
It's hearing you, and it's making things happen for sure.
Yeah.
And I will never discredit that because I can't. That stuff wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have prayed the way I did. It just wouldn't have.
That's a good word. I think that's why I appreciate these guys that are right, like NF, because he's like, look, I'm a person in the same world that you are. I struggle with depression. I struggle with grief. I struggle with heartbreak. The only difference is I believe in X, and I think and that has changed me and helped me push through it. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have that, again, like you said, that's on you. But I think there's a real like helpfulness in that when you're like, hey, yeah, I'm religious, I'm a Christian, whatever. But I write just like you do, man. Like that song, the video I just showed you. Like that's my granddad dying of cancer super early, and me not sure how to process it. And that's like it's I would say I'm a Christian, but I'm not sitting there like everything's happy. It's like, no, I'm sad. Like that sucks. I understand that there's purpose in all this. I understand that there's goodness and there's love and there's direction.
There's reason.
But that doesn't mean you can't live in this world and act like there's no grief and there's no sorrow because it's not true.
It's ignorance.
Yeah.
That's pure ignorance.
And that's where that good writing comes from. That's the hardcore like emotion you're talking about, the country that we're talking about. It's because people write about real world things. The storytelling, like you feel that on a level that is different than just a couple notes and a couple words.
And it's I mean, and I'm not trying to make this about me, but like we were talking about this during the break when I showed you my video and everything. When I wrote that song, like I avoided, like I knew I wanted to write the song, but at the same token, like knowing I wanted to write the song, I avoided writing the lyrics because like I knew what kind of emotions it was going to evoke. And when it came time, like I didn't even have the lyrics finished when we went to record. We got down all the instrumental and everything, and then they were like, "Hey, it's time to lay down the lyrics." And I was like,
"Yeah,
like damn!" Like, and I had to go lock myself in a room for 2 hours because I had to finish these. And I had to get myself like in the zone, and I came out, and he's like, "Are you good?" I was like, "You need to hit record like right now."
Yeah.
And that's when I did it, and like I did, like I cried during one point because like I was avoiding putting myself in that mental and emotional state that I was trying to write from because I knew it was gonna suck, it was gonna hurt. There's gonna be at least a multiple day like recovery just from writing the song, but I had to do it because if I didn't, the song wasn't gonna sound right, and like. That's one thing I'll give credit to musicians, like where credit's due. Some of these musicians, they write some, and even you, like with your grandfather. People, how do I want to word this? Because I've had so many people, and this is not me being like conceited or cocky, but I've had multiple people come up to me where they're like, "Hey man, like that really helped me. Like, hey, like I really appreciated that. Like I really enjoyed that." And they just want that because they're the consumer. And if you look at this as a business, they're the consumer, you're the supplier. And the consumers, they want this, but like you do not understand the toll that takes on the artist to continuously keep kind of putting it. It makes perfect sense why some artists and musicians they snap, they lose it because they're trying to meet that demand, they're trying to give that emotion, but they're just staying in this dark, depressive place mentally to give this content, and it just breaks them because you can only take so much as a human. Your spirit can only take so much. It just it's hard, and I only did that for one song.
Yeah,
and
I'm like, man, like I could not make a career off of this by any means.
Right.
It's gotta be tough. Like I'm a sucker for sad songs, and like, I mean, there's some crazy things out there, and it's like, man, this person really they really went through some stuff in their day, and like, then they had to go through writing a song about it, and then being famed for that song then as well.
Right.
And I mean, it's really crazy.
Like imagine writing a song about like the hardest part of your life. And you hope it does well. I mean, that's what you're doing. What if it sucks? But like, here's the dual-edged sword. Like, you hope it works because that's why you wrote it.
Yeah.
You want it to work. You want it to make money. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But then imagine it being like, that's like your number one hit. And it goes platinum. And it's on the radio all the time. And you have to keep hearing
kind
that.
Of like pumped up kicks.
Yeah. I was going to say like the Gregorys, actually, like the peer. I mean, like people, it's on the radio all the time. And that's not really.
You guys are on the radio?
No. Not really.
I was about to be like real hyped. I was like, yo, congratulations.
Dude, that's awesome. I don't,
Sorry,
that's awesome.
yeah.
That's
But like,
awesome.
yeah, like just imagine like being someone like as big as like Chris Brown. Like, let's whatever. Chris Brown writes a song about like the most painful part of his life. And
it's everywhere.
Bam, number one hit. Yeah, and just like every 30 seconds on every radio station.
And
you're
everybody's
just
drinking to it.
Yeah,
that's right.
And
this is a good beat, man.
Yeah,
like,
this
is great. Yeah.
I just want to crawl into a ball and die because like I hear it all the time.
Talking like, I think this is part of why me and my buddies in the Non-Existent Records, like we've gotten so, like we've realized. So all of us have all been in and out of bands too. The one guy is in a bunch of crappy like pop punk bands back in the day. The other guys is in some current bands, Promise Breaker being one of them.
I love Promise Breaker.
Yeah, it's
Love you,
awesome.
Tyler.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
you're working with Tyler?
well, I work with Tyler a little bit, but Jake, the drummer for Promise Breaker,
That's right,
he
yeah,
produced my EP. He did my music video. He plays keys and drums on the record. Like, Jake's one of the most like versatile musicians in Central Pennsylvania. Like, he's amazing.
For sure.
And a songwriter. If you don't know, he's got a project called Rough Nights. If you go on Spotify and look up Rough Nights, you're gonna find some of the coolest kind of like alternative pop, a little bit of a punk edge to it. Like, dude, he wrote and recorded everything, played everything. It's amazing. It's like 15 songs or something like that.
I'm gonna
So
look that up then.
it's really good.
Definitely.
But like, we realized from all of our work in music, and none of us, Jake was the closest out of all of us to being like semi-professional. Like, Jake played with Young and Heartless for a while. And
Yeah.
like, so, but like, we realized that we're all just like 9-to-5ers who love the music scene. We got families, we got whatever. And but we realized that like you don't have to like go to LA or go see Green Day. I love Green Day, but go see Green Day in Hershey Stadium to like see the best music
God
or
no.
the best songwriters. The reality is some of these guys that better than you'll ever hear, especially in the songwriting world. Like, you can get technically better at guitar and like drums,
Mhm.
but especially in the songwriting world, because of experiences and the like just innate ability to like tell a story and communicate through words and music.
Mhm.
Those people are right down the road from you, and we realize like that. So that's part of what this whole community focused mission. Like, we're not getting paid for this,
Mhm.
but I realized listening to some of these bands, there's guys I could just rattle. I mean, there's just the Nick Staver is a guy, Aaron Getchell, Vince Yarnell from Rivers back in the day. Like, some of these guys, none of them are professional musicians, but I listen to their songs. And I'm like, dude, this is one of the best records I've ever heard. Nobody may ever hear it, but like, that's part of where the drive comes from. Is like, if I could get somebody through like down the tree of my connections to hear this and say like, what the heck is going on in Carlisle? Because like, or Central PA, like that happened, right? Like that happened in Lancaster.
Oh,
right.
for sure.
Like people realize like, what the heck is going on? August Burn Red, Texas in July, like
Yeah.
what is going on in
and
Central
this
PA?
farmland,
Yeah.
middle of
districts.
nowhere.
Right, and so
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
close enough like that. Like, realistically, there are people that could now like, that's not my end goal is not like I want to make people famous and make money. My end goal is like I just want somebody else to hear this. Like, I know this dude, he put out a record, he's dropping money, he's playing. Like if you like music, if you like good songwriting, you don't need like Taylor Swift's new album is great. You don't need to listen to it. You can listen to Joe Blow from Gettysburg because his new album is really, really good.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of where the heart of it is.
It's like when you hear like that local artist and you're like, how is this person not famous? Like,
Yeah.
this is a hit song. It like Evie.
I
We
was
had her-
just gonna
oh
say
yeah,
that
yeah,
Evie.
she's great.
Evie's
Great talent.
Evie's out there writing bangers. Like,
Bangers. Like, if
she
the
puts-
right person heard her, she would easily be like a
Yeah, yeah.
platinum seller
Yeah.
right now.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
100%.
Well, you guys
Evie, if
know,
you hear this,
she's amazing.
we're all behind you.
She's
never back.
she's got a new single coming out actually against next week.
Yeah, she just
So,
tagged me in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely, I'm really excited to hear it.
You guys know You guys know Jordan Trevino, Hot Jam Factory? You familiar with Hot Jam
I've
Factory?
heard of
You've
it,
been
yeah.
Hot Jam
I played with Hot
Factory
Jam
for a
Factory for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm repping.
Repping it
yeah.
right now.
Hey.
So
I remember listening to your guys' album and it would like Sam, my sister, put it on.
yeah,
the
that's
car,
right. Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh yeah, this is Brett's band." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Dude,
I like this." And this
I
is back
didn't-
when I was like big metal, only
Yeah,
metal, and
yeah.
that came on. You guys had like a very like
It's experiment like art rock. Like yeah.
There was like
Funky?
there was blues, there was jazz,
Yeah.
there was
That's Jordan,
alternative.
man. Yeah, that's Jordan. Like
Great band.
I wasn't even really writing a ton then. I was like, he would give me a song and I would help write the bass and the harmony because that's what I did, right?
Mhm.
But even like if you look up a Hot Jam Factory anywhere, I mean Jordan, I honestly think, and that's not just because he's a buddy, not just because like I played with him and I can say like, oh, I played with him, but like Jordan Trevino is like, this is. Do you guys know Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys? You guys follow any of the Beach Boys stuff?
I
Eh.
used
Okay,
to
it's
listen
okay.
to the Beach Boys. No,
It's okay.
I
It-
like the Beach Boys.
read anything about Brian Wilson. Listen to some of his solo stuff. The dude was, if you go back into the '60s, like the dude was like the Beethoven of his day. Like people were like, how in the world? He had some of the best studio musicians in the world playing with him, and they're like, this kid's like 20 years old. How's he writing this stuff? That's Jordan. Like the things that Jordan. If you listen to a Hot Jam Factory record, it doesn't sound like anything else. They're in a league of their own, and they're in Harrisburg, and like people outside of like maybe like a little bit of the East Coast and they play in Brooklyn a lot, but like other than that, nobody knows who Hot Jam Factory is. But like I would put a Hot Jam Factory record with any other kind of like off the wall like alternative band or like kind of art rock band. Like they are that good.
They're extremely talented.
Yeah, and
they
so
have been for 15 years.
Right, and
Is
so
it
like
15 years,
something
now?
like that. I mean, I was playing with them in 2010, so
Okay,
they're getting close.
At least 10.
Yeah, and they're
That's
amazing.
insane.
Yeah,
I've never been in a band that even lasts that long.
I
The
know,
longest
I know,
band
right?
was like 4 years for me.
Oh my God, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I remember you guys being extremely talented and just having like a lot of really good sounds.
the thing that sets him apart, and I'm noticing this with more guys too, and actually especially with Tyler and Jake from Promise Breaker, like I'm realizing that the people that are kind of just stuck in their genre, or they can be really good, and that's great. Like Jordan listens to everything. Jordan's influences come from everywhere. Like Jordan has, we share like songs back and forth with each other.
I understand that. Like my hat goes off to every musician that can do that. That can pull from every influence.
He's like,
I can only write, and I single myself out. Like I can only write hardcore.
Really?
But people are like, yeah, but people are like, well, I can dabble in other ones, but like primarily hardcore. But like he's saying, this Jordan guy, I'm gonna listen to this. I'm gonna listen to this.
Oh yeah, dude.
Ooh, that's cool. Ooh, that's cool. I can combine this
Yeah.
here, and it sounds completely different. And I'm like,
I remember being able
I don't
to,
understand how
like,
you do
he
that.
would tell me how good Taylor Swift was when I was in, this is like 2011, and I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, this is when I was really into hardcore. I'm like, dude, like, Taylor Swift sucks, okay?
Mhm.
And then, like, and he's like, no, dude, like, but I know him, like, his music's amazing. I love playing it. And I've, like, matured a little bit, and to the point where I'm like, you know what? Like, as far as songwriting goes, like, maybe, like, same thing with the Beatles, but, like Taylor Swift writes a lot of good songs.
Sure,
Like,
it's bangers.
A lot of good songs.
Yeah.
I can't really say anything because I made a Facebook status the other day. It said, just when I thought 2020 couldn't get worse, Taylor Swift dropped a new album.
Have you heard it, though?
Yeah, and
I've
did
heard
not
it's
like
really
it.
Really?
good.
I
Did she
really
write
like it.
Did she write it, though?
Well, so here's the thing about Taylor Swift. I don't know what she's doing now, but her claim to fame has always been she's written everything. Like,
Yes.
she writes all her stuff.
Here's
So,
and
yeah.
that's the thing. Like, her last two albums, not that I listened to her, like, avidly, it just did not sound like her.
All I'm gonna
I don't
say
know.
is
That's a good question.
with Taylor Swift is, don't you ever talk shit on "Shake It Off."
That's a good
Because
song.
That I am not even ashamed to admit that like I jammed that song so many times.
It's a good song.
I was like,
Yeah.
I stayed out too late. And I was like, hell yeah! I was like, yeah, I do.
The thing is, like, most people, guys and gals, most people that are like, like, this song sucks or whatever, it's like, yeah, but you couldn't write a melody like that.
Not
They're
at
like,
all.
No, you're right. Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't do that. Like, that's amazing.
Like
Yeah.
it was so good. And like I'll be honest, Taylor, my girl, if you're listening, if you're watching right now, God,
Dude,
would
she'll
I-
break up with you. She needs another album.
Yeah.
She'll break up
Look,
with you.
so I've always said this. I've always said like,
She's still
I will-
young, man. She's
I
got a
will
lot of
either-
music to write.
I will either do one of two
She's from
things.
PA.
One of
I
two.
know,
I
Reading.
know. I
Easy,
saw
Alan.
her before she was Taylor. I saw when she was like, I'm just Taylor. I saw her then. I got to talk to her, and then she exploded. Taylor,
Does she
my
remember?
girl, homie.
She doesn't remember.
If you ever wanna, one of two things is gonna happen. I'm either gonna love you, appreciate you, respect you exactly the way you deserve, and then guess what? I get to be married to Taylor Swift. But if that doesn't work out, I'm gonna break your heart so bad. I'm not getting a song. I'm getting a fucking album.
All right,
I mean,
all right.
Yeah, but she's
an
gonna make
album.
millions.
Can we have the
It's
Taylor
gonna be in the
Swift
contract.
conversation? Can we have the Taylor Swift conversation?
What's that?
Do we really think that she's had her like? I'm not trying to sound original here because this has definitely been a meme, but like, she's definitely
The
got to be
heartbreak
a
thing.
part of the problem. At
Okay,
this
so
point now. Like,
here's my
after that many
yeah.
heartbreaks.
Here's my Taylor Swift theory. I think she's just like I think I assume the best of everybody. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
that's my
Yeah.
first impression. Like I assume the best. So with somebody like Taylor Swift, who's like it's not just hearsay. She writes about real relationships, and there's
Yeah.
obviously been a lot of real relationships. To be honest, like I think she's just like she's dating these guys and thinking like this is what we do. I'm in Hollywood. I'm gonna date this guy. Maybe becomes marriage. Maybe like everybody else does. Like a lot of people just date and they're not gonna get married. Whatever. Except for like she's also a good songwriter and she's famous. So it's like I don't think she's like seeking out dudes like okay I'm gonna break up with this guy and like write a song. I think it's just like look she writes off life experiences.
No, but
she has a lot of
I'm
them.
saying like, what if she's just like kind of a bitch?
Well, she might be. She might be.
What? So I'm kind of going off yours. I think because I've had this conversation multiple times too, where I think realistically, if you look back, it's not like she was raised by like a family that like had like a legacy like in the industry. She is a self-made artist that, and I think
Her
she
parents
got
are millionaires.
because of her.
No, prior millionaires.
Oh, okay.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing.
You're
I do need to
billionaires.
preface. I do need to preface that does not bother me.
No.
because people are always like, "Oh, Post Malone's parents are rich." I'm like, I don't care.
Here's the thing.
He's still
you
out there writing
Right.
bangers.
You
like,
can be rich. You can
Okay.
have all the resources that you want, like from your family. But she made herself an artist, and she was thrust into an industry at a young age, and I think that does a lot to. It's very impressionable to someone at that age. She's like, you become famous overnight, and then not only did it wasn't even just like a spark that fizzled out. You kept
She's still
writing
good,
bangers,
yeah.
and you kept staying
It's-
good. And I
yeah.
think that affected her mentality. And I think she met certain people, and she was like, she had this idea of like, oh, this is what a relationship is supposed to be like. But she removed the fact that she's one of the most famous musicians in the world,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't fit that mold anymore. And she set herself up for heartbreak.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah.
And not directly and not intentionally, but it just she wasn't ready. She wasn't mature enough to be like, this is who I am now. This is the power that I
regardless,
have.
she's still making money.
And now
Like,
she
And
has,
regardless,
she has
she's still
experiences of her
gorgeous.
whole life that she can write, which is very pretty.
Yeah,
But she
that's
has
true.
she has all these experiences now that she can write about. But I think the thing is, like, she didn't make it because she has a really good voice or because she's a really good guitarist. And I think like that's the outlier. She made it because she's a good songwriter.
Yeah,
And
for
there's
sure.
so many people in the
She
music
is.
industry that can't write music. Like, they might have a great voice,
Yep.
great musicians, they can't write. Like, that's huge, you know?
That's something I was gonna bring up earlier when we were both talking about like writing different genres of music. Is like I've always written different genres, and like, sorry, I'm not trying to exclude you because you said metal only.
You
but,
go.
Like, I find my inspiration through other songs. It's not that I'm like gonna go out there and steal their lyrics, but I'm just like, well, okay, I really like the way this sounds, and then like,
You'll hear a one-liner and you're like, whoa, that really resonated with me.
yeah, and then like it kind of gets you thinking. Or I mean, it will be something as simple as somebody will say something to me, and I will just manipulate it into lyrics.
Yeah.
And
That's called life experience. That's how it works.
and then like my roller deck brain just of music just kinda
Roll it.
Nice.
It's just
nice.
it's just like,
yeah.
all right, what kind of sound would this lyric go to? So then you write it to that sound.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how my brain works when I write music. So
Yeah.
I can't really say when I write music because like I'm still writing music. I haven't put a song out in like, Hunter, when was the last time we put out a song? 10 years ago? 11 years ago?
A long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, last time
A
I put out
long
music, it was
time.
with Hunter, and we were like teenagers.
Right.
But like, I still write music every single day.
You still talk about it every single day,
Yeah.
like, and I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen one of these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop a little something.
But I think that's like coming back full circle, like that is like, that again, like that's what I'm looking for as a promoter or as just like even just as a consumer of music. I'm looking for the writing.
Yeah.
Like we're working with some part of what we want to do is develop younger artists, and the scene. One of the big problems is the scene right now in Central PA is really in and out of 21 and over environments.
yeah.
And there's
100%.
so many, like, if you're a high school in the area, who are you looking up to that's local? Nobody. Like, I remember back in the day, I was looking up to local guys.
Oh,
you
for
were looking
sure.
up to an early ending.
I was looking at early Indian. I'm looking
Safari
up to,
So
yeah,
Good.
Early Indian, yes. Dude.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I got you. I got you. Safari
yeah,
So
Battle
Good.
the
Carousel
Bands.
Kings.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, Carousel Kings, for real. But also, like, so Rivers would be like an indie folk, area. Judges, you guys remember Judges?
I don't.
They
I
did
don't.
a song. They were like a hardcore band. they
Dude,
did a
I
song
remember
called Blue.
Judges.
Yes, yeah.
I saw
dude.
the first time I saw him was at that little venue. I want to say it was somewhere in Mechanicsburg. It was like a little community center thing.
Yes, yeah.
Crux.
They did that. Was it called Blue?
No,
Blue or
it-
something like that? Was
yeah.
the song Blue, the single they had?
Yeah.
Dude, it was. It changed. It was so. It was like heavy, but super slow, almost like doom metal slow. And it just super melodic, and I was like, "What is this?" Right? Like, I don't even know what happened to those guys, but like they were like a local band, right? Like,
In Search of Words, I always looked up to them.
Yeah, close
Yeah, Search
close
of
consideration. You guys know
do
close
you-
consideration?
Do you guys know Imperialist?
Yeah,
Really good?
Nevertheless, always
Really
looked up
good?
to them. Yep.
Yeah. So we had, because Champ was an underage venue.
Oh,
we
for
had
sure.
a venue where you could go and see bands that were like your buddies that were
Mhm.
killing it and were traveling and like doing these things.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like these kids now, the music, the money's better, and there's more venues, and we're not doing this stupid pay-to-play crap anymore.
Thank
But
God.
these high schoolers aren't going to bars to see bands, and so we have a couple of these young talented artists in Carlisle, Gettysburg. We're talking like 14, 15 years old, like writing songs, and like I can. There's one girl's name. I think her name's Maddie. She has a song called Liar on Spotify. It's fantastic.
Oh, I know Maddie.
So yeah, so good.
Oh wait, doesn't she do a lot of work with Logan?
Yeah, and
Maybe.
she works at Starbucks.
What's her name? Madison Ryan.
Yeah.
Maybe.
that who you're
I don't
talking
know.
about?
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know
pretty
her
sure.
last name.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
I saw her at a festival this past weekend, and I was like, what the heck?
Chris, am I correct there? Because Logan used to do a lot of work with her, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's the same person.
I'm
Oh,
pretty
okay.
sure
I
it's
don't
the
know.
same
There are a lot
person.
of Maddies out
Yeah,
there.
that's true. But like, so this girl,
Because
like,
she's like pop as hell. Like she kills it. Like, I know who she is.
the girl that I'm talking about, like, the only song I know of hers is like her on a guitar. Very simple.
Oh, okay.
You know, but it's amazing. But like, she doesn't like. You ask her like, okay, so what bands do you look up to? And she's like, all these like big label bands, which is great. But she doesn't know anybody local. And so like, how can we like connect these people together? Like, how can you know, I want to like help this person write a little bit. Maybe we'll record them in like our basement, and I'll like do harmony and bass or whatever, just to give them some kind of a full sound to like say, hey, this person is really like, try to develop that artist like as a writer.
That's
right
so
now.
much effort on your part.
Yeah.
Like, which is like,
It was fun.
good lord.
yeah.
Like, I mean, it literally takes someone like you to be the person to do this, because like you have a family, you have
thoroughly
kids,
enjoy it as well.
like, and you thoroughly enjoy it, and like this is what I want to do. So it's not work to you, but almost anyone else in this industry, they'd be like, but how much am I getting paid to do this?
Right, and that's the problem. We've run into that locally a little bit too, but like for the most part, like this community is great because they support each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm telling you, there's like this place. The guy he's his own property, he does his own thing. He had a festival, he does it once a year, and some of the best bands in like South Central PA come to this thing and they play there. They don't get paid.
You talking about the barn shows?
This is not in a barn, but
Okay.
it's something like that.
Okay.
You're talking about the one like out in Lancaster, aren't you?
No, it's like honestly, it's the middle of friggin' nowhere. But like,
Well, that's the best
it was
place
good.
to do.
I haven't-
But like
that's
you're there and you're like, these guys are all it's just one band after another. Like, there's a band called Copper Beds. They're amazing. They sound like Allman Brothers. Nick Staver is a great songwriter, and he's like a kind of like a blues, like slow country rock artist. There's just so much out there. And these guys are just like, they help each other. Like they play in each other's bands. Like the drum, like drummer, like, oh, my buddy, we don't have a gig tonight, so like we'll drum for you. And like that kind of community focus, if trying to connect all that and just push that out there. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of work, but it's so fun to be. You're there and you're like, this is kind of what I live for, like in a worldly sense. Like I love this.
It's funny you bring that up because it's like you're talking about like the whole community in general. And that's something we talked about like a few episodes ago, is how like community has really faded in the world just in general. Like
Sure.
there's not so much community just in like a social structure standpoint.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
like, and when you're losing that in social structure, you've already lost it in the music scene and everywhere else, and that's what kind of slowly bleeds into that. But
Yeah.
like, I mean, if you can build that, it's not easy. Like, and to say it is easy is just it's flat out wrong.
Right.
First of
Yeah.
all, and it's insulting because like if you can build a community and that is your focus and that is what is important to you and what matters in your heart, like that is extremely important to the world
Right.
in general, because just building that little community there in the music industry could spark a fire in somebody else, and they're like, okay, wow, like
Yes.
the music industry is back. Well, let's get the cafe industry back.
Yeah.
This back, and that's how community in general is formed. Because I mean, obviously, community is a group of people, a group of different people, a group of different organizations. So just bringing that back, I mean, that's a part of like the American dream.
Yeah.
Is that community right there?
Yeah,
Yep.
working
It's
with
the
that
music
community.
industry, and that's
Yeah.
what is closest to like all of our hearts,
Right.
as musicians, as a local community. Harrisburg, like Carlisle would be kind of roped into like the Harrisburg
Yeah,
area.
sure. The
you
greater
know?
Harrisburg area.
And it's like we're slowly trying to build this community back that kind of fell apart.
Yeah, in some ways it did. Yes, for sure.
And what you're doing is amazing. Like
Yeah.
you're building that community back. And that event you were just talking about,
Yeah, we're doing a benefit concert for Project Share. Project Share is a food bank, and like they help with donating food to the hungry. I used to volunteer there in college, and so at Seven Dots Pizza Place in Carlisle, it's on 40 East Louder Street. They have
Shout out.
Yeah, that's right. They have a backyard, and so we're gonna do like an outdoor, like follow all the PA guidelines about COVID, like try to be distant, wear your mask when you need to, but it's gonna be outdoors, so we can kind of gather because
Yeah.
you're not inside. And I'm gonna have Indian Summer Jars is gonna play. I'm gonna have Holland, who's a fantastic songwriter at Harrisburg. My band, the Gregorys, is gonna play. A guy named Paul Wolf, who's a songwriter from out of town. He's gonna travel up and play. And then a really, really cool pop punk band called Real Face is going to be there. Like a positive pop punk vibe. I actually had them in Carlisle. They opened for Handguns and Idle Minds before
Ooh,
COVID. Yeah.
okay.
oh, wow.
So like they're really cool. Like, we're just going to be out there, all coming for free to hang out, and basically it's a $10 suggested donation at the door, and all that money it's all I'm paying in is sweat equity. I'm just gonna give it all to Project Share. So as much as we can make, BYOB, I think Bird's Nest Brewing Co. is gonna do like a deal on like 4-packs. If you buy from them, they'll donate money to Project Share.
When
I will be there.
Yeah,
when
man.
is this again?
It's on August 22nd. Starts at 5 p.m.
I'll be back in town, so I'm good.
Saturday evening. Yep.
Oh,
yeah,
you should do it. Just
Dark
show
Roy
up.
Daniel about to do a podcast there. What's up?
You do it. That'd be awesome.
About to cover it.
Backstage passes.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
wait,
stage.
seriously?
I mean, like.
He said, wait, seriously?
I like.
You're on our show, but we're like, can you hook us up?
I like. I'll be building the stage like out of pallets that Saturday. So with that in mind, I'll create backstage passes at that point.
Just
Sweet.
Shear the wood down, make it into paper. We'll supply the bleach.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And the
If you need
lamination.
pallets,
Quill.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm gonna set up a bunch of like donated tents, like canopies. It's kind of like a bring your own, like a lawn chair, like bring your own beer, bring your own chair,
Yeah.
hang out. 7 Nuts is the best pizza in the area, so you can buy pizza there and eat it if you want.
I love pizza.
It's so good. But like it's gonna be a totally laid back unless a hurricane comes through, like these canopies are gonna be out. We're gonna play. Like everybody's gonna be undercover. The band's gonna be
Rain or
undercover.
shine, let's go.
We're doing this thing. Yeah.
Rain or shine, Dark with Daniel's gonna be there covering.
That's right,
this.
baby.
We got
I'm
We
down.
got the mobile technology. We got the Chris, we got the technology to do this, right?
He's not nodding or shaking.
No.
Chris.
Okay.
Chris, do we have the technology
Cell
to do
phones.
this?
You got cell phones.
We got cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris.
We'll be there.
It's gonna be cool. Though. It's gonna
That's
be
what I
cool.
wanna hear.
Yeah.
We'll be there
Last
with
year,
bells on.
I did one for a local like family life center where they try to help with it's like a pregnancy center as well as like helping like young families, like families without dads, families that, like just I've donated my girls' clothes there, like so they can give girls' clothes to people who need them.
That's awesome.
And like so we did that last year. I think we raised a little over $1,000 for them.
Wow.
And like it's not a ton, but like it was definitely a cool.
It's definitely a
Yeah.
dent.
nothing.
It was
Yeah.
great.
You did something for your
Yeah,
community.
it was
man.
fun.
That's amazing.
So fun. So like that's what we're doing August 22nd. And the Gregorys are gonna have to practice because we don't
Dude,
play a lot. So
How did you find this? How are you find this guy? This guy's here.
I've known him for.
This
Yeah.
guy is here
been a
in the
minute.
music industry,
We need to hang out more.
trying to
Yeah.
break
we should.
down the walls. Like he's like, oh, like we're just local musicians. Like let's just be musicians together. Let's just embrace the music. He's like, oh, and like let's be a good person and community involvement. Like let's work together. Brett,
Hey man.
I would
Hey.
love to have you on again. My
Dude,
God.
I'm down.
Absolutely, you're a stand-up guy. We are running out of time. Is there any
Sure.
last thing that you want to call out or anything
Yo,
like that?
shout
or
out
Sure.
plug your
everything you want.
Yeah, I
Plug
will.
it
Okay,
all.
I'll plug it. I'll be shameless plugs. Look at my band, The Gregorys, on Facebook, Spotify, Instagram. We have an EP from 2019.
I did check out their music
Yeah, got a
video
music
on the
video.
break. Almost made me cry.
Great music video.
We
Saw
are
it.
like it's just a harmony-driven folk, acoustic, soft rock kind of vibe, and all original stuff. We got an EP from last year, so that's one. Two is I write my own stuff too. You can look me up on Bandcamp, Brett Rudder. Anything that like doesn't like make it to the Gregorys gets like ousted to like Brett's solo stuff. So there's that.
Awesome.
And then like
It's the
yeah,
recycled.
yeah, that's right. And then non-existent records. We're trying to grow. We like we said, like we're just a community focused. We're not really a label. We're just fans. We're trying to push music out from like this bubble in Pennsylvania anywhere we can using our contacts. So following us on social media is huge because we have a bigger voice then. So those are the big. This is the big three.
And for all of our listeners that didn't get all the information, we will plug all the links,
Sweet.
all the pertinent information that you need in the comments and the description of this video. But Brett, man, dude,
Dude,
I'm
that was
like,
fun.
I'm super happy that I got to meet you tonight, man. Like,
Yeah,
I had
me
no
neither.
idea
I
who you
think
were
we need
before
to
tonight.
as possible. And
Yeah.
Isaac. Is
Yeah,
that
we
his
should bring Isaac on. If I can, I could get Isaac. I get a Jake. One of those. I name one of those guys. They'd have lots.
If
to
you
talk
get
about.
Jake on here, just
Yeah.
done.
Well, it'd be
Let
cool
us
to
know.
get
Let us
Jake
know. We're
on.
booking because like
Yeah.
COVID really has us kind of screwed up with our scheduling. So like,
Well, we can
you
get
want
in
to come
there.
back on sooner rather than later. If it
I-
works in your
yeah.
schedule, let me know.
I
mean,
will. If we can get Isaac and me on and do more like local music stuff, but then we get Jake and I on and Jake can talk about Promise Breaker a little bit, that'd be sick.
Ooh,
Like,
yeah, I'm about to get Jake, and Tyler on.
Oh man,
Ooh.
dude, that'd be a
I would
party.
love
Wombo
That'd be a party.
combo,
That'd
that's
be a
all I'm
party.
saying.
Yeah.
Tyler B,
Tyler's
we're
out of
calling you
control,
out.
man. That's right.
Yeah, right. So I've been trying to get a hold of you, Tyler.
He doesn't-
August
he doesn't answer
22nd,
his
though.
phone.
That's when this
August
benefit
22nd.
is.
Yep. If you're there, August 22nd, it'd be awesome.
What's the address?
40 East Lowther Street,
Oh, yeah,
Carlisle,
you
Pennsylvania. Yeah, dude.
40
The-
East
Lowther,
Lowther
that's
Street,
right.
Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
7 Dots Public Pizza Place, best pizza in Central Pennsylvania.
And
And
you might see Dark
believe it.
Daniel. They're doing a live
Boom.
coverage.
Is it like Dave Portnoy, like pizza, Barstool Pizza review worthy? As I'm wearing the Portnoy
I didn't know
shirt,
Portnoy. No, it's you think of the best pizza you've had, and then just like, what if somebody like made this better? That's 7 Outs Pizza. It's just amazing.
Okay,
it's so good.
Right.
Yeah.
How late are they open today?
I love pizza.
Dude, I don't know. I'm not usually there
Do
like
we have
late.
time? Do we have time?
You might.
I don't think we do.
Probably not.
I don't think we do.
Oh
at
yeah,
all.
probably not.
All right. Well,
No.
it's getting pretty late.
No,
we
you
better
don't.
wrap this one up.
All right.
Brett,
Word.
thank you so much for coming out, man.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Thank you so
I
much for
appreciate
that. Yeah.
We'll definitely talk off air about rescheduling.
Sweet. Most fun I ever had.
That's the best compliment. Oh my God. Thank you so much. And a quick shout out to our sponsor, Rockmill Industries. Definitely check them out online. Rockmillink.com. Rockmill.
They're
Inc.
awesome.
Thank you.
They're awesome.
They're your
They
one-stop
are.
shop for any sort of local business, musician, anything like that. Screen printing, embroidery, obviously musicians, recording, lessons, whatever you want, they have it here.
And if they don't have it, they'll make it.
Yeah, they will. They will. They
Exactly.
make everything.
And that's absolutely true. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today.
It's true.
Please go out there and sponsor them, or go out there and support them to support us. And thank you very much for listening.
We'll see you next week.
Sweet.
See you next week.
Peace.